The galaxy was full of wonders and terrors. Stars burned like endless fires, planets turned in silence, and countless species filled the void between suns. Some were strong, some were wise, some were predators, and some were prey. All of them came to one place, the Grand Academy of Civilization. The Academy was not only a school. It was a place of order, where every species was judged and given a rank. Some were called warrior class, others were builder class, and some, the proudest, were predator class. These names told who they were, what they could do, and what place they held in the great chain of life. And then, there were the humans. The class called humans was placed at the very bottom. Weak, fragile, slow. No claws, no scales, no natural weapons. Their skin could tear, their bones could break, and even their minds were said to be small. To the others, they were laughable. They were prey. In the great halls of the academy, laughter often rose when humans passed. Massive warriors with shining armor mocked them. Cold-eyed hunters with fangs showed their teeth in cruel smiles. Even the builders who valued knowledge shook their heads and said, "What can such a weak class bring to the stars?" The humans never answered. They lowered their eyes, kept their voices soft, and tried to survive in silence. Among the hundreds of species in the academy, they were the ones no one feared, no one respected, and no one counted as rivals. But the universe had a way of hiding truths. Whispers began to spread in the corridors. Something was changing. Something was coming. A figure, a human, was said to have arrived who was not like the others. He walked differently, with quiet confidence. His eyes were steady, as if he knew something the rest did not. When the announcement came, the great hall filled. Every race gathered to see the strange human. Some came to laugh, some came out of curiosity, and some came because of fear they could not explain. The hall was vast, with high walls carved from stone older than memory. Torches of plasma burned with blue fire, and banners of 1,000 worlds hung heavy in the air. The crowd buzzed with voices, clicking mandibles, rumbling growls, sharp hisses. The sound shook the hall like a storm. Then the doors opened. He entered. It was only one human, tall but plain. His steps were slow, measured. He carried no weapon, no shield, no armor. Yet every eye turned to him. Not because of his body, not because of his clothes, but because of what followed him. Behind him, dragged across the stone floor by heavy chains, was a cage. The cage was iron black, reinforced with glowing seals, and inside something moved. The sound was low, guttural, like a growl held deep in the throat. A sound that made even the predator class shift uneasily. The human said nothing. His face was calm, but his hands gripped the chain with steady strength. Every step echoed in the silent hall. An armored warrior laughed, his voice loud. "Look. The prey brings a pet. What game is this?" Others laughed with him, but the laughter was weak. Their eyes kept turning to the cage. The growl grew louder, scraping against the walls of the hall. The human stopped in the center of the chamber. His gaze moved over the assembly, the strongest, the wisest, the most feared of the galaxy. And then he placed the cage down with a sound like thunder. The chains rattled. The growl rose. Something struck the bars from inside, shaking them. Sparks flared. The hall fell silent again. Even the boldest predators leaned back, their nostrils flaring, their claws twitching. The human spoke for the first time. His voice was low, but it carried through the hall. "You call my kind helpless. You call us prey. You say we cannot survive." He touched the cage. The thing inside slammed against the bars once more, and this time, the crowd saw a glimpse. Scales black as night, eyes burning red, teeth long and curved. A collective gasp ran through the assembly. It was a hunter they all knew. A terror whispered in legends. A beast that had stalked their own worlds and left nothing but silence behind. Many of them had lost kin to its jaws. Entire squads had failed to kill one. Armies had burned trying to trap it. And yet, here it was. In a cage. brought by the weakest species of all. The human's eyes were cold as he looked at them. We do not run. We do not hide. Even your monsters can fall. The predator inside roared, a sound like a storm breaking mountains, but it did not break free. The cage held. And more than that, it listened. When the human raised his hand, the beast went still. Its burning eyes turned not on the crowd, but on him, as if it waited. The academy was silent. The laughter was gone. For the first time, every race in that hall looked at a human and felt something new. Not pity, not humor, not scorn, but fear. And the story had only begun. The hall remained silent. No one moved. The beast inside the cage let out a low rumble that made the very air tremble. Its breath fogged the metal bars, and its claws scratched deep lines into the stone floor beneath it. Every alien eye was fixed on the creature. They knew it. They all knew it. It had many names across the stars. The Zoth, the Night Maw, the Devourer. To some, it was simply death. Wherever it walked, life ended. Entire hunting packs had fallen before its teeth. Worlds had burned trying to drive it away. And yet here it was, chained and caged, by a human. The great predator tilted its head, its burning eyes locked on the human who stood beside the cage. It growled again, but not in rage. There was something else in that sound, something almost like patience, like respect. A warrior from the croc species, his body covered in armored plates, broke the silence first. "This is a trick," he barked. His mandibles snapped, and his tail lashed against the floor. "That beast cannot be tamed. It kills all. No prey can command a predator." The human did not look at him. He only kept his hand on the cage. Another voice hissed from the crowd, sharp and cold. "Release it then. Let us see who it obeys." Murmurs rose. The air grew tense. The crowd leaned forward. Fear battled with curiosity, and curiosity was winning. Slowly, the human stepped forward. His hand tightened on the lock. His voice was calm, steady, as if he had done this many times before. "You fear this hunter," he said. "You call it unstoppable. But fear is a chain. And we learned long ago how to break chains." With a sound of grinding metal, the lock fell open. The hall gasped. The predator pushed against the bars. For a heartbeat, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the cage door swung wide. The beast stepped out. Its body filled the hall with shadows. Its scales shone like black iron. Its teeth glistened with hunger. The floor cracked beneath its weight, and its tail cut the air like a blade. Aliens stumbled back. Some raised weapons. Some screamed in their own tongues. The predator roared, a sound so deep it shook banners from the walls. But then, silence. The predator lowered its head. Its burning eyes never left the human. It stood before him, a mountain of death and power, and bowed. The academy could not believe it. The impossible stood before them, the weakest species commanding the strongest hunter. The croc warrior trembled with fury. Impossible! It must be some trick, sorcery, machines hidden inside its flesh. The human turned his eyes on the warrior. Cold. Unflinching. No tricks. No chains. Only respect. He placed his hand upon the predator's snout. The beast did not move. Did not attack. Its breath rolled hot and heavy, but it stayed still under his touch, like a wolf before its master. Whispers filled the hall. How? Why does it obey? What are these humans? The human spoke again, his words carrying through the crowd like iron. You see prey. You see weakness. But you do not understand. On our world, we lived beside predators. They hunted us. They killed us. But we learned. We watched. We endured. We broke their wildness until they fought beside us, not against us. Where you see monsters, we see teachers. Where you see death, we see survival. The predator growled softly at his side, as if agreeing. Some of the alien leaders looked away, disturbed. Others stared with new eyes, as though the humans were suddenly strangers, no longer the helpless class they believed them to be. The croc warrior shouted again, desperation cracking his voice. You lie. It obeys because it is broken. You cannot tame such a thing. The human's lips curled into the smallest of smiles. Not joy. Not pride. Something colder. Then watch. With a sharp motion, he snapped his fingers. The predator turned, not at the human, but at the croc warrior. Its head rose, its eyes blazed, and with one thunderous step it advanced. The warrior froze. His armor clattered as he stumbled back. His tail whipped in panic. For the first time in memory, a croc warrior, a predator class, looked like prey. The predator opened its jaws, teeth glinting with firelight. A low roar rolled from its throat. The warrior screamed. Then, another snap. The beast stopped. It turned back, walked to the human, and lowered itself to the floor at his feet like a hound awaiting command. The silence in the hall was deeper than space itself. The human looked at them all. His voice cut through the air. You think humans are helpless. But we learned long ago, if you cannot kill the predator, you make it kneel. He placed his hand once more upon the beast, and it closed its eyes, still and calm. No laughter remained. No voices argued. Only fear, and the sound of chains lying broken on the stone. The helpless class had revealed something the galaxy had never seen. And the balance of power would never be the same. The hall of the academy still trembled. The echo of the predator's roar seemed to hang in the air, even after silence returned. Hundreds of eyes watched, none daring to blink. The image was burned into their minds, the deadliest hunter in the galaxy bowing before a human. Fear had entered the chamber. But now, something else followed, questions. An elder of the builder class stepped forward, her long arms folded with unease. Her voice was slow, measured, heavy with disbelief. This cannot be. You are fragile. You are prey. How can prey command the most terrible predator? The human stood calm, one hand resting on the beast's scaled head. The predator's breath was hot, its chest rising and falling like a storm at rest, but it did not move without his will. You do not understand humans, the man said simply. His voice was steady, like stone against the wind. You see soft flesh and weak bones. But what you cannot see is the mind. And the mind is our weapon. The crowd murmured. Minds were valued, yes, but minds could not stop claws. Minds could not outrun teeth. And yet, here was proof. The human began to walk slowly around the predator, his eyes never leaving the assembly. On our world, he continued, we were surrounded by hunters. Creatures faster, stronger, with teeth sharper than blades. They chased us. They tore us down. But we survived. Do you know why? No one answered. The silence was heavy. Because we learned, he said. We studied them. We watched every move. We listened to their steps in the dark. We learned what made them strike, and what made them hesitate. We learned how to trap them, how to tame them, and how to make them serve us. The predator's tail struck the floor with a sound like thunder, and many flinched. Yet it never rose against him. It waited. Obedient. The human's voice grew harder. You call us helpless because we lack claws. But claws can break. You call us weak because our skin is thin. But skin heals. We do not rely on what we are born with. We build, we change, we adapt. And when the predator comes for us, we do not surrender. We find a way to turn fear into a weapon. The builder elder frowned, her long eyes narrowing. You mean, you made this creature fear you? The human shook his head. Slowly, he raised his hand. The predator rose to its full height, towering, shadow covering the hall. Gasps filled the air. Then he lowered his hand, and the beast crouched low once again, eyes burning but calm. Not fear. the human said. Respect. Fear fades. Respect remains. The words struck the crowd harder than any roar. For ages, these species had placed themselves in order. Predator above prey, strong above weak. But this human had broken that order. He had shown something the others never understood. That survival was not only about teeth or strength, but about turning weakness into power. The croc warrior, still shaken, spat from the corner of the hall. His voice trembled with rage. You call that respect? You chained it. You caged it. Without your iron, it would kill you as it killed us. The human turned, eyes cold, and pointed to the shattered lock lying on the stone floor. The cage is open, he said. The chain is broken. And yet, it kneels. The croc fell silent. Around the hall, whispers began to spread again. Some voices spoke with awe, others with dread, a few with anger, but none with laughter. One of the younger aliens, from a species with glassy eyes and skin like crystal, dared to ask aloud, "If you can tame this, then what else can humans tame?" The question rippled through the crowd like fire. The human did not answer at once. He let the silence grow heavy, let the thought burn into every mind. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, but sharp as a blade. This is only one predator. There are many more. Stronger, smarter, worse. And still, humanity endures. We do not run from the monsters. We study them, we hunt them, and in time, they kneel. The predator beside him gave a deep growl, almost like agreement, and lowered its head again at his feet. The assembly felt a chill that no fire could warm. For the first time, the strongest of the galaxy wondered if they had misjudged. Perhaps the helpless class was never helpless at all. Perhaps they had been blind. The human looked across them all, his eyes steady, his voice final. You fear the predator that hunts you. But the predator fears us. No one spoke. No one dared. The sound of the beast's breath and the slow echo of the human's words were the only voices in the chamber. And the lesson in fear was complete. The grand hall of the academy had never been so silent. The strongest warriors, the wisest builders, and the most feared predators of the galaxy sat frozen. No one mocked. No one laughed. No one even breathed too loudly. All eyes stayed locked on one scene. A single human standing tall. And at his feet, the predator that had once hunted them all, kneeling like a loyal hound. The silence was heavy. For the first time in history, the helpless class had become the center of every gaze. The human's hand rested lightly on the beast's head. He spoke, his voice steady but sharp enough to cut the silence. You thought us weak. You thought us prey. But now you see, we are something else. The predator gave a deep rumble, its eyes burning red, but it never moved against him. Its strength bent to his command. A leader of the predator class rose from his throne. His body was covered in scars, his claws glinted like knives. His voice was low, filled with unease. If your kind can tame such a hunter, then what else can you do? The human's eyes lifted, cold and unblinking. What we must, he said. The hall stirred with whispers. Some voices trembled with awe, some with fear, and some with anger. For centuries, they had looked down on humans. For centuries, humans had been a joke, a weak class unworthy of respect. Now, the joke was gone. The croc warrior who had once mocked them stepped forward again, his mandibles trembling, his rage failing to hide his fear. This is not balance. This is not order. The academy was built on truth, the strong above the weak, predators above prey. You would destroy that. The human looked at him calmly, then at the entire assembly. Perhaps your order was never truth at all. Perhaps it was only a lie you told yourselves to feel safe. But humans never had that comfort. We lived with death at our door. We never believed the world was safe. And so, we became something more. He gestured to the predator. The beast rose, towering, casting its shadow across the chamber. The sight made even hardened warriors grip their weapons. Yet still, the predator did not strike. It waited. Obedient. The human's voice grew stronger. You see us as fragile, but fragility made us clever. You see us as prey, but prey learns fastest. You see us as helpless, but helplessness taught us to stand together. That is why we endure when others fall. That is why we tame what you fear. The builder elder spoke again, her voice soft with unease. If this is true, if humanity is what you claim, then what will you do now? The human was silent for a moment. He looked around the hall, at every species, every leader, every warrior, every eye burning with confusion, fear, or awe. Then he answered. We will rise. The words fell heavy, undeniable. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some voices hissed in anger. Others whispered with respect. And a few bowed their heads. The predator beside him gave a thunderous roar, so loud the very walls shook. Banners fell from above. The torches flickered. The sound seemed to announce a change that none could deny. The helpless class was helpless no longer. The human raised his hand, and the predator grew quiet once more. His eyes met the leaders of the academy, and he spoke his final words. You placed us at the bottom. But you forgot. Those who rise from the bottom climb the highest. Remember this day. Remember what you saw. Humanity does not kneel. The silence that followed was not the silence of mockery, nor of disbelief. It was the silence of recognition, of fear, of respect. The assembly had witnessed something impossible, and the galaxy would never be the same. The lone human turned. The predator followed, its massive body moving like a shadow of death behind him. The doors of the grand hall opened, light spilling across the stone floor. Without another word, he walked out, leaving the leaders of the galaxy staring in stunned silence. And so it began. From that day forward, whispers spread across the stars. Whispers of humans who were not weak, not prey, not helpless. Whispers of a class that had risen from the lowest place to claim something greater. The class called humans. The class that tamed the predator. The class that would not kneel. Humanity ascendant. And this was only the beginning.